YouTube, what's going on? BD Wolfgang 1980 here, aka Bezell, the man that's seen the place to be in the QCNC. Hello, friends. Welcome on in. It's NXT time. Time for your NXT review for November the 11th, 2015. And we get a video recap of last week's ending. The Why Joe Why, as the crowd was yelling. Why did Samoa Joe turn his back on Finn Balor? But I think we all know the answer to that question. But let's see what happened. Let's see how the show played out. Joe's going to give his explanation later on. So let's see what happens. Show starts off with some in-ring action. We get Perfect 10, Ty Dillinger. He's going up against Baron Corbin. Now, Dillinger had some new music, and when I say new music, I mean even newer than the theme he's been using the past month or so, which I kind of enjoyed. I mean, the new song was all right, but I like the other one better. Maybe they'll switch back to it. But either way, this was starting off to be a typical Baron Corbin squash match when all of a sudden Apollo Crews interrupts, comes in, brings the fight to Corbin. He ends up... he brings the fight for Corbin for ruining his title shot last week. From there, he gives him a pretty good beatdown till Corbin retreats. He runs on out of there. So now this is going to be our new feud, I guess, for Apollo Crews until he can get his hands on another title shot. So Crews and Corbin. From there, we get the 6-person tag match here that they announced last week. It's going to be Bayley and the Hype Bros, Zack Ryder and Mojo Rawley versus Alexa Bliss, Blake and Murphy. And here we go. Not a bad one here at all, actually. Decent action. This match had a little bit of time as well. A very hyped crowd for this one. Very surprised. I mean, the crowd was really super hot for this one. We got a bunch of "Hey, we want some Bayley" chants, which I found very funny. But they just wouldn't stop. They just kept going with it too. Let's see. Good action here between Bayley and Alexa, giving us a nice little preview of their upcoming title match. The next question is, if we're going to actually pause the review, but I have to ask you all this. Why is Zack Ryder on NXT? I'm sitting there watching the match. We all know what he can do. The crowd has always kind of been behind him. I mean, I just don't understand why he's there. I mean, whose wrong side did he get on to be on NXT? And I'm not saying NXT isn't a good deal. I mean, obviously we enjoy it. That's why we talk about it here. But man, what a talented guy. I just don't understand it. But anyway, let's continue here. Now the finish was Alexa. She ended up taking the NXT Women's Title. She ends up, leaving, and Bayley tries to follow her. Now this is where Murphy ends up getting in Bayley's way, kind of like body blocks her. But from there, we get a belly to Bayley for his troubles, because he ends up getting dropped by Bayley, which was awesome. She ends up chasing after Alexa. From there, the Hype Brothers finish up the match, getting into 1, 2, 3 with the Hype Rider. Not a bad match. Wasn't bad at all. I enjoyed it. And as far as this interaction between Alexa and Bayley, there's more to come. So let's continue here. From there, we get a backstage promo from the Ascension. They say they accept Jordan and Gable's challenge. And I believe that match will take place next week. So we'll see what happens with that. From there, we see Nia Jax in the hallway walking out. I guess she's getting ready to go for a match. From there, Eva Marie is talking to her, and she follows her. Now, we weren't able to hear that conversation, but we saw something was going down between the two there. From there, Apollo Crews is backstage. He cuts a promo on Baron Corbin. He says he's going to get his revenge, and this is personal. He's going to break him for interrupting him and ruining his title chances. Let's see here. Next we have, Nia Jax, and then she's going up against someone named Dianna. Once again, we get total musical chairs and total new rotation with all these new NXT women or NXT divas that have been debuting lately. So hats off to that, WWE giving them a chance. Hey, you got to take what you can get sometimes. I know they're squash matches, but some of them have actually taken advantage of that, and we see some glimpses and light at the end of the tunnel with a lot of them. A lot of them look pretty good. But from here, really nothing to talk about. Nia Jax actually looked pretty decent in this one. Squash match as usual. We got a very nice Samoan drop. I'm talking about shades of Umaga. Very nice by Nia Jax that she did to poor Dianna. She gets the quick, dominant win, 1, 2, 3. Next week, they announced it's going to be Nia versus Carmella. So good luck, Carmella. But we'll see what happens with that. From there, we get backstage. Bayley is still chasing after Alexa. She gets her title back, and then she ends up running into Nia Jax, who just kind of stares at her, doesn't do anything to Bayley. But this allows Alexa to attack Bayley from behind, knocking her to the ground. From there, Nia picks up the title. She looks at it, gives it to Bayley, and then she walks away. So Once again, interesting interaction there. Not real sure what they have in mind with it. We'll see what happens. From there, tag team title action. That's right, your tag team champions, the Vaudevillians, versus, one of my new favorites, Dash and Dawson. So here we go. They've been building up to this one for the past couple weeks, cutting some decent promos on each other. So let's see what happens. Right from the get-go, we get the good old manly chants. Vaudevillians working some really good tag team action. I'm talking they were showing out at the very beginning of it. Nice, good, clean, crisp work. In control most of the match. They end up taking a break, and we come back. After the break, Dash and Dawson are in charge and working that old school style. They're working on Aiden English's leg/knee, keeping him completely isolated. From there, finally, Gotch gets in. He gets a hot tag, cleans some house, but it's not enough. He ends up getting thrown outside and then thrown into the stairs alongside of the ring. Meanwhile, Aiden is still getting worked over. He gets put into a leg lock, almost like a reverse figure four almost. It was kind of hard to explain. And he gets put in a leg lock. He ends up tapping out. That's right. He submits. We have new NXT Tag Team Champions, Dash and Dawson, the mechanics. There you go. From there, they celebrate. We come back. They're backstage. They cut a victory promo saying 12 years, hard work. This is what they've been working on. This is what they waited for. And this is just the beginning. They're going to go down as the most dominant tag team in the world, as they put it. So we'll see what happens. Congratulations, my friends. New NXT Tag Team Champions. From there, they announced that Bayley versus Bliss. That's right, the NXT Women's Title will be on the line, and it'll be our main event next week. So we'll see what happens with that. From there, it's time for our questions to get answered. Why, Joe? Why? What's going on, my friend? Come on down to the ring. Well, that's what happens. Samoa Joe comes on out. We got some boos. We got some cheers. A little 50-50 kind of crowd. We got some Finn Balor chants just thrown in as well to kind of mix things up. From there, Joe says, Finn, I helped you in a Dusty Rhodes Classic. And you know what? We won. You came to me as a man. You had action behind you wanted me to be there, and I had action behind me giving you my word. But when, finally, I asked you for a title shot, you agreed, but there was no action. He says, you sat right there when William Regal put me in that battle royal just to win back the opportunity that you pretty much just gave me. And you sat there and did nothing. So obviously Joe was very upset about that. He says he is a man of action. And he's going to make sure that he becomes the next NXT world champion. He didn't come here to mess around and, be friends. He said he's here to be the man. So strong words from Samoa Joe. From there, Finn Balor comes out. He's ready to fight. He gets in the ring. They're separated by, several officials. Joe ends up pushing one of the referees onto Finn, causing an opening. From there, Joe takes advantage of that, gets a cheap shot in. He steals Finn, knocking him to the ground. He ends up putting the coquina clutch on Finn Balor. Puts him to sleep, completely out. From there, Joe stands up, grabs the title, looks at it, just like those old school heels used to do, drops it down on the fallen man who's passed out on the ring, walks away. From there, the show ends with Finn Balor finally coming to, waking up, feeling the effects of that chokehold. What a good episode, friends. I enjoyed this one. This was a lot of fun. If you haven't seen it yet, definitely check it out. This one was fun. And last week, sorry I had such a late review last week, but I was, as I explained, I had a leaky roof, and I wasn't feeling well last Wednesday and Thursday, but definitely feeling good today. Stay tuned. We'll see what anything's going on with Lucha Underground. But we did get that video up late, so if you want to, you can go ahead and check it out. But I enjoyed doing it for you all. It's a good video. But either way, my friends, good to hear and see from you all. Be good to one another. Be good to yourself. Be true to yourself. I will see you later. Take care now, my friends. Bezell is out. Be good. Oh, yeah, and go Panthers. 8-0. Go Panthers.